No respite in sight for stuck home buyers in delayed projects, be it JP Infra, Amrapalli or others. Caught between Supreme Court RERA insolvency of companies. Where does the buck stop? Also an urban reality. As the country braces itself for a scorching summer, we begin a special series. Should India's cities wake up to a looming water crisis sooner than later? These are the top stories we will decode today on Urban Reality. Welcome everyone. I'm Manisha Natarajan. First story, from Supreme Court to RERA to audits to insolvency, nothing has been able to get stuck home buyers their home. And to top it, home buyers of JP Infra are being threatened with cancellations of unit even if they default on a few EMI payments. Forget the fact they've been paying monthly home loan installments for 8, sometimes 10 plus years, diligently with no home in sight. It's depressing, isn't it? Especially when you see the likes of Nirav Modi and other so-called businessmen defrauding the banking system of thousands of crores. How do buyers get out of this Chakravyuh, and what can they really hope for? Where does the buck stop? Joining me to discuss this are Sunil Tyagi, Senior Partner at ZS Law, and Abhishek Dubey, who is a corporate lawyer based out of Delhi and also one of the JP home buyers. Abhishek Dubey, I've termed it a Chakravyuh. I cannot understand it. What is the end game here, tossed between all of these multiple agencies, all of them saying that we want to help the home buyer, but the home buyer still has no sight of his home?
Yeah, so what I see is that even at the, Supreme Court is trying to basically, take care of the interest of the home buyers, but it has been very inconsistent in the sense that in the Supertech order, they have said that there is no need to pay EMIs under subvention loans. So there is a relief under the Supertech order, but at the same time...
Even on Amrapalli, there's some relief.
Yeah, so in Amrapalli, the relief is that, the resolution professional will basically cannot, charge money from the home buyers as of now. But in JP, there is no such relief as yet. So, the resolution professional is also demanding upfront payment.
So you're saying the Supreme Court is taking very inconsistent approach to each of these cases?
Yeah, so my point is that, Supreme Court should lay down a guideline for all these, home buyer cases and say that these are the 5 issues. And the foremost issue now also is increase of the square feet area. Every project is seeing 10% increase in the area, which basically,
and therefore we will not pay any delayed penalty. Even that measly, miserable 5 rupees per square foot will not be paid. Guess what? We've increased your super carpet area, isn't it?
Exactly.
And here's the plan, and go take a tape, inch tape, and measure it.
Yeah, and there is no benchmark of calculating that. So the first and foremost is the square feet area that should not be increased. That should be the first guideline which should be given by the court. Second is under subvention loans, there should be a moratorium. And basically third is there has to be...
Why only subvention? There should be a moratorium.
Yeah, exactly.
You can take a position of plus 5 years. There will be a moratorium because we, the government, the court and insolvency professionals and RERA are all looking at fixing this, isn't it?
Exactly.
Sunil Tyagi, come in here and explain to me, the way it seems is that Supreme Court has taken a position that home buyers' rights should be protected. Yes. But you have insolvency professionals who are going around saying, look, buyers should be prepared for a haircut. Now, Supreme Court, interestingly, made a very important statement. And let me just read this out because the wordings are... very critical here. He told the counsel representing the bank that buyer's money is not builder's money and you cannot take buyer's money that does not belong to the builder. So where does the question of any haircut come under the insolvency proceedings?
So, to protect the buyer's interest, the Supreme Court has already appointed a lawyer from their side also to represent the cause of the buyers in front of the resolution professional. So the matter is still pending. It has still not been decided. Supreme Court is taking up the matter, and as you said rightly, it is taking prime interest of the buyers in mind. So one by one, they will take up the issue. Probably this banking issue where the EMI pending.
Three hearings in JP Infra have been cancelled in the month of February, Sunil Tyagi. We understand. In fact, we hailed Supreme Court by saying that, look, at least now buyers have some hope they will get justice. But justice more delayed?
So if you say, there have been matters have been pending with the developers for a year. If you expect Supreme Court to decide the matter in 3 months, it may not be possible.
Okay.
It is a complicated matter, but there is an NCLT matter, there is banks matters, and then buyers, developers. There is multiple issues involved in this. It will take some time. Buyers have to have some patience at this stage.
Do you
They have
agree?
been patient for so long, I know, but we have to be a little more patient with this.
Are you convinced, being part of this legal system, and of course it is the apex court of the country and in favor of the buyers, do you feel that the resolution will come in favor of buyers? They will not have to take a haircut. Supreme Court is cognizant of this fact. And what? You would give it a time frame of 3 months, 6 months?
So,
all
Manisha,
of 2018?
Haircut could be in terms of the interest, which may be payable to the buyers, but not in terms of the property. So there may be a lesser rate of interest or lesser compensation which they may get, but they will get the properties. I believe so.
All right, so they will get the properties. Abhishek, Dubey, would you agree with that? That look, stop worrying about what compensation you will get. In fact, in Unitech cases, you've had several court cases saying, pay up this much, pay up that much. In fact, Unitech has again and again gone back to Supreme Court and said, we cannot even pay the amount that you've asked us to pay. Isn't it? So should buyers also recalibrate their expectations from as an outcome?
Yeah, so I do not agree with the fact that we should only be satisfied, or the buyer should only be satisfied with the houses they get, and that too they're getting after 10 to 13 years of booking the apartment. So therefore, one thing I realized in this country is that if you need to ask for your rights, you have to fight for your rights. Otherwise, you'll have to face oppression. So home buyers will have to continuously fight for their rights at various fora with the resolution professional at NCLT and at Supreme Court. They have to be relentless. Only then they will get the relief. So, and also, like, to answer to your first question, why is Supreme Court delaying? So basically, now we have seen that Supreme Court had issued an order.
I'm not going to question the apex court or someone like Supreme Court. It just feels when three hearing dates are cancelled, then what is the point?
And it's been happening since August last year. So basically, Supreme Court issued orders in respect of car parking before, the service tax before. So why cannot it implement the order and, straight away? Why is there a need of a hearing after hearing? So, it can basically lay down guidelines for the builders and the resolution professional to follow in matters of real estate.
That is it. Sunil,
like it has done in the sexual harassment cases, or it has done in police arrest cases. So there are guidelines which are followed by other authorities.
And it will just become straight, because right now UP RERA does not have what compensation should come, right? Isn't it? If Supreme Court just lays down, then insolvency professionals, because NCLT is under Supreme Court, will have to follow that.
Yeah, the matter is pending. It has not been disposed of. It will take some time, and these guidelines will come. But it cannot happen in 2 or 3, 4 months.
They could have come earlier, because, people are fearful, and they're getting more and more fearful as time passes. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. So it's a very simple solution. Supreme Court can lay down guidelines for any authority to follow. So it doesn't have to be Noida authority or audits which have to be done, and, those audits are meaningless. It's essentially just lay down guidelines by the apex court in terms of what the compensation is, and the fact that no haircut has to be taken by any of the buyers. I think a strong statement will perhaps set it right. It's heartbreaking to see stuck buyers, and we can only hope that Supreme Court does this very quickly and there's an early resolution. India's heading into a scorching summer. When we return, we dive into a special series, Cities and Water Crisis, and bring you a close look at Bengaluru, the city which hit headlines for being predicted as the world's top 11 cities which could run dry in a decade.